It's that time again where you can get a teeny tiny discount at Sephora for a limited time. Yes, the Sephora VIB sale is back. But before you waste your money on anything in the sale, I want to walk you today through my full guide of what is worth it, what is not worth it, and then chat about what I might pick up. The full sale dates and details will be in the description box down below. Think of this as kind of just a wrap up of everything at Sephora that I'm loving at the moment. Maybe there are things you want to pick up in the sale, maybe it's just good knowledge to have, but I'm gonna start off in skincare. Something that is a must in my skincare routine as someone acne prone is the SOS spray from Tower28. I've gone through multiple bottles. I have a little mini that I like to transport the full size into the mini for travel. Like I have a trip coming up and this is a must in my bag. Anytime I'm going anywhere, I tend to really break out from like the flight, the stress of it all. This saves me. I spray this before flying. I spray it when I land. Like anytime I'm seeing acne start to come on, I spray this and I feel like it helps keep it at bay. I've really simplified my skincare routine lately. I keep it quite minimal. It's really about like sunscreen and tretinoin for me, but as someone with dry, sensitive skin, having the right moisturizer is really important. And as we're getting into the colder months, this is one of my favorites for the winter time. This is the Skinfix Barrier Plus. And this is actually my second tub of this. And it has, I don't want to do this, I don't want to open it, but it has a refill on the inside. So this is the original tub, but with a refill. But this is so intensely nourishing. If you have ultra dry, sensitive skin like I do, this is one of the best moisturizers I've found. Okay, makeup. There are basically only two foundations that I wear these days. I have to force myself to use anything other than these two foundations, and starting with the one that is not new at all. This has been around forever and you're like, Kelly, are we still talking about this? But I have to give it a shout out. This I have fallen back in love with. I use this like every single day, the Fenty Eaze Drop. This is still one of the best foundations on the market. I constantly go back to it. I'll test out all the new foundations. Nothing has really surpassed this for me. The other one I'm gonna mention, they're kind of like neck and neck. They're quite similar and I use them for different purposes. Spoiler, the other one's from Fenty too. Do you know what I'm talking about? But anyways, the Eaze Drop is so fantastic. It is kind of like a skin tint, that's how they describe it, but it has a higher pigment level than you would expect for that. It has pretty decent coverage. It's kind of on the more matte finish, so I think it looks super natural without being like overly glowy. It wears so well, it's smoothing. It's just the best of the best. And as all of these brands are raising their prices, this is $36, which don't get me wrong, is still a good chunk of money, but compared to all the other foundations at Sephora for 1 ounce of product, this is one of the least expensive, and then on sale, like it's a pretty good deal. If this is a little too matte for you, try this. These, like, I'm not kidding, I could get rid of every other foundation in my collection and just have these and I would be set forever. I reach for these constantly. The only time I'm really reaching for my other foundations is when I'm forcing myself and saying, okay, don't use Fenty today. But this is the Soft Lit. This is their newer formula. It came out this year. It's very hydrating, but it's not overly glowy, okay? It's not gonna be as dewy as like the new Patrick Ta foundation. It looks natural, but like you could set the glow down and it's not gonna be too much, you know? I have dry skin and I feel like it's the perfect amount of glow. I think even the name Lit, Soft Lit, it leads you to believe it's gonna be pretty glowy and dewy. It's actually rather natural. More glowy than this one is, but this one's slightly more smoothing. So I guess it depends on what you're preferring. If you want the perfection, go with this. If you want the glow, go with this. But again, it's not like overly glowy. I always list all my shades down below if you're ever wondering. I put those in the description box always, but I have shade 3 in Eaze Drop and 150 in Soft Lit. Okay, I'm gonna speak about this one so briefly. I wasn't going to include it at first because I'm like, man, I don't stop talking about this. But then as I'm sitting at my makeup collection, I'm looking over everything, I'm thinking, what is the top concealer I wanna recommend? I would be lying if it wasn't the Natasha Denona concealer. I know I've had this for a while. I know I've talked this up and down, but just one more shout out. This is my holy grail. Nothing has touched this. It is the best concealer I've ever tried. It is high pigment, smoothing on my under eyes, wears so well, creases way less than anything else. And I always say way less because nothing is creaseless, okay? If you have creases on your under eyes, makeup is gonna settle there, but this is one of the least creasing concealers that I've tried. It is my holy grail. I always come back to it. Every time I come back to it, I fall back in love with it. Best concealer ever. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Let's talk about something a little bit newer. The pink powder from Kosas. I have been all about tinted powders. You know I'm obsessed with powder to begin with, but there's something about a tinted powder that just adds something a little bit different to the skin. And these new shades from Kosas in the Cloud set come in a few different tones. The lightest is this pink shade, and it's kind of a lilac-y pink. Like, it's not a super red-based pink, it's more of a bluey purple-based pink. And because of that, I find it to be really brightening and almost a little bit color correcting to my under eyes. But these new shades are also offered in a yellow and a peach, and those are designed for more medium and then tan skin tones. But if you're fair like I am, this pink is so pretty. I just feel like it brightens so well. It's very smoothing. And what I've always liked about these Cloud Set powders from Kosas is that they're lightweight, but they really blur out the skin. You know, I still have the regular one in the shade Breezy. I love that one as well, but I like the pink ones for brightening the under eye. Like, this is kind of just like that finishing powder for me to add that extra touch. And I think it's nice too because it really seamlessly blends in with the blush. It kind of makes everything all one. But if you like a more heavy duty powder, Huda Easy Bake is the best in my opinion. I just think this formula is phenomenal. This is the mini, and I will say, I am not light-handed when it comes to this product. I use a lot when I'm using a loose powder. I view it as like a more is more situation. I like to put a lot on and then maybe dust it away. And all that being said, even with the mini, it's like I haven't put a dent in this. So if you were looking at full size versus mini, I use this constantly and it barely looks used. So I just wanted to throw that out there. There's a ton of product even in the mini. Love this powder. It is about as perfecting and airbrushed as it gets. If you want to literally look like you have a filter on your face, this is the powder. Cheek products. Okay. I want to talk about this. I've been really into this style of product lately that's kind of a hybrid between a bronzer and a highlighter. And this formula from Bare Minerals is so underrated. So this is their highlighting blush. Now, you know I love the bronzer, and that will always be just a consistent recommendation for me. It's in similar packaging, but this is a different product. So these are glowy blushes, and I have two shades, but this is the one in particular I want to give a shout out to. If you are around my skin tone, this is such a pretty shade. It is called Peach Glow. It's subtle. I use it as a topper shade. I don't necessarily look to this to be my only blush because I love blush and I like to layer a couple. But you could wear it as your only blush, okay? It's just gonna be a little more subtle. And it has that highlighter property to it, but it's not too shimmery. I don't think it looks artificial on the cheeks. It just looks alive. And I feel like these 2-in-1 hybrid products are becoming more popular. I'm seeing everyone talk about blush bronzer hybrids. Well, this type of product that's like a highlighter blush hybrid, I could see people being really excited about too. I think of this as like, what would the word be? What would you call it? A blush lighter? A blush lighter? Do you have a better name for that? But I love this. It's so good. If you like the RMS shimmery blushes, this is very similar. And I have to give myself a pat on the back. I said it correctly this time. In every video, I keep calling them the REM blushes. I'm getting the brands mixed up. Makeup by Mario. These right here. Okay, specifically the contour sticks, but I want to bundle in the blush sticks as well because they're also great. But this contour stick is my holy grail. This, I run into the same problem that I have with these two foundations where I can't stop using them. I have to force myself. I'm like putting them back in my makeup drawer and like not punishing, but like forcing myself to use something else because all I want to reach for is this. Ever since I got this, it is like the only product I want to use for my cream bronzer. It is that good. And I think what makes it so stellar is not only the formula, but the shade, okay? And if you have fair skin and you find that a lot of cream bronzers just are not quite the right shade and or pull too orange, this is one of the lightest cream bronzers that I found. It is the shade Fair, which was the new addition. Like, he added the shade Fair this summer. It wasn't in the original launch, and oh my gosh, it's so good. I just think it makes it so easy to use because it's really ideal for my skin tone. Even beyond that though, the formula is fantastic. It blends out so effortlessly. I like to pick this up with a brush and apply it, but I do think this also works perfectly just drawing it over the skin, and I never do that. I'm really anti drawing my stick products onto my skin. I feel like 9 times out of 10, it disrupts the foundation, it makes a mess. Not this one. I wish you could see what is in front of me right now. So Tilly always sits in my window, and I film in front of a window, and she's laying in front of the window, and I have a little book there because it's like sitting next to my bed, and she's using the book as a pillow. And she's just the cutest in the world. But I also love the blushes in this, and in particular, you know, I love a peach blush. This shade right here is such a pretty peach blush. It's called Soft Peach. This is one of the other newer ones that came out this summer. also super pretty. I like the more punchy red ones. Lately, I've been into like a burgundy kind of blush, which isn't always my preference, but I feel like that, or even like a cranberry tone I've been really into for fall. So these, I recommend the whole line, as well as these blushes. Okay, let's talk Patrick Ta. The internet loves Patrick Ta, and for me, out of the entire line, the products that I think are worth it the most, that are actually worth the hype, the blush duos. Now these are expensive, so if you're gonna be picking these up, definitely do it when you can get it on sale, like right now in the VIB sale. So I have two shades. I have the shade Just Enough, which is the lighter pink shade. And then again, these are the duos, so you've got the powder blush and the cream blush. But my real favorite is this one right here, She's Blushing. This is the most natural shade. I feel like it's, because it's not too orange, but it's not too pink, it's not too actually red, like it's a very muted, natural reddish tone that looks just like sun. Like it looks like you're a little bit flushed. I mean, the name is called She's Blushing, and I just think it emulates that so well. If you want something natural, undetectable, like this shade is gorgeous for that. The Hourglass Unreal blushes have been such a shocking favorite for me. I tried this out thinking I was going to really not like it at all. I'm not typically a huge fan of liquid products. I tend to like cream over liquid, and yet I'm reaching for this constantly. I'm wearing it like almost every single day. I have this on today with a little bit of the Peach Glow from Bare Minerals over top. This is the shade Vision, but I have 3 of these. I think this is so highly pigmented, but it also can be sheared out. It mixes well with others. It has this luminosity on the cheeks that just looks alive and kind of dewy, but not over the top in a way that's accentuating pores. Like it just sits well, it wears well. I reach for these, like I said, basically every single day. Like, okay, this is like the Kelly starter kit right here. The Eaze drop with the Huda powder, the Mario stick, and then this, oh, and the Natasha concealer. Like these are just my holy grails. And maybe I'm being a bit redundant talking about these, but when I'm recommending things for the sale, I want to talk about the products that I genuinely cannot stop reaching for. Not the ones that I'm like, oh, this is good. No. These are the products that I truly wear like every single day. Which will bring me to lips, and I want to talk about my favorite category product ever. It's lip liner. And these new ones from Say are fantastic, okay? But they're $20. And typically, I don't think you need to spend $20 to find a good lip liner. Lip liner is a category that you can easily snag at the drugstore and have a really great performance. So, do you need to buy a high-end lip liner? No, but when they're on sale, this is a formula I would highly recommend. Like I genuinely do think these are worth the price if you're willing to splurge and spend $20 on a lip liner. Really impressed me, and I love the shades that they offer. They have a lot of beautiful nude shades. That being said, there's nothing like super unique in here. I'm gonna put that in air quotes, but if you wanted like a bright pink or a red lip liner like I'm wearing today, unfortunately they don't have this, it's all nudes, but it's so many pretty shades of nude, and I have been reaching for these constantly. They're creamy, but they're not too creamy, and that's like, I'm like Goldilocks when it comes to lip liners. I'm like, it's gotta be creamy enough, but if it's too creamy, then it's gonna smudge. But if it's not creamy enough, then it feels dry. Like, no. This found the balance. It's so hard to do, but these did that. These wear super well. Colors are pretty. Love them. Okay, and nails. I want to talk about a nail recommendation here, and it is the Glamnetic nails. So I love their press-on nails. I'm a huge press-on nail person to begin with, but the Glamnetic ones are my favorite. I just feel like, okay, I've tried every press-on nail brand, and I always say it kind of comes down to finding the one that is right for you, because naturally we all have slightly different shapes to our nails. Some are more curved, some nail beds are a little bit deeper. Like discovering which brand is best suited to your nails is kind of part of the challenge, and then discovering which one you're gonna like the best. But I will say, Glamnetic, theirs work the best for me. They always fit my nails the best. They wear the best. Their glue is magical. Like it lasts so well, sometimes too well. I love their press-on nails. And they didn't used to sell their press-ons at Sephora. It used to just be some of their lash products, but they semi-recently started carrying their press-ons at Sephora as well. They have a ton of different nail sets, but the ones at Sephora are all $15. Then if you can get that on sale, not bad for a manicure that is gonna look like you went to the salon. Some fragrance recommendations. Did you know that Ariana Grande's fragrance brand is now sold at Sephora? They used to only be at Ulta, but now they're at Sephora. Obviously, I love Cloud like everybody else, but my recommendation would be this right here. This is the Vanilla Mod Vanilla. I always say it backwards. This perfume, I have such a big dip in this. The packaging is a little bit weird, but I kind of, in a weird way, I like it because I feel like I can hold on to it like this and grip it and spray it like that, but I know not everyone likes this packaging. This is such a delicious scent. If you are a gourmand vanilla lover like I am, like this is so delicious. Like, I'm gonna be using this all winter. I mean, I was using it all summer too, who am I kidding? But a fall scent, if you like to swap your scents out seasonally, would be this one from Ellis Brooklyn. This is called Apple Love. This is a scent that on paper I should not like, and the first time that I smelled this in the bottle, I was like, no, I don't think that's gonna be for me. I tend to avoid very fruity fragrances, and this one, upon first sniff, is almost presenting kind of showery, which I tend to avoid in fragrances, especially ones that are like very, very fruity like this. And yet the way that this sits on the skin is completely different. It just smells like I'm at an apple orchard. Like, this is the epitome of fall for me, especially if you want to layer it with something maybe even a little bit more woodsy or a little bit spicy. I think that would be delicious too. But for someone that doesn't really like scents that are fruity like this, I just know I'm going to be wearing this one all fall. Okay, but what should you not get in the Sephora VIB sale? And I mean, probably a lot of things actually, but I want to talk about the products that I just don't think are worth it. Starting with this blush from Kosas. And this blush was it's not a horrible product. You know, I have some others to mention in this category that are horrible products. This was just okay, but I think out of all the blushes at Sephora, I wouldn't want you to buy one that's just okay. So these from Kosas, I think, are a skip. This is their new formula. It launched, I think, in February of this year. These are the Blush is Life blushes. Similar vibe to the powder, but I just unfortunately don't like the blushes as much. So these are pretty glowy, but what's weird is that I've swatched every blush from the line and the glow levels vary dramatically. Some of them are much glowier than others. Some are just like kind of glowy. So right away, I think it makes it hard to recommend because I'm like, that shade might be glowy, it might not be. It's because of the swirl in here. Like, some of it has more glow, some of it is more matte. But regardless, that glow, in my opinion, doesn't sit super well on the cheeks. I think it emphasizes pores. It's not nearly as smoothing as I want from a powder blush. And there are a lot of brands that have been launching this kind of like baked blush formula, and I just simply don't think these are the best. I think if you're looking for a baked blush, skip this one. I mean, even at the drugstore, the Milani or the Essence ones offer something very similar at a fraction of the price. So I just don't think these are worth it. And neither are these, okay? You probably know how much I dislike these if you've been watching my content for a while now, but the Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Blushes are the most overrated product of 2024. These are impossible to use. They do not blend. They're just not good. Like, it's a cool product, and that's where so much of the buzz began, but I don't think this is a user-friendly product, and you can get so many other long-wearing blushes at Sephora that are gonna be easier to work with that I just don't see a purpose in buying these outside of them just being interesting. I would also skip the Yummy Skin Skin Tint from Danessa Myricks. I love the Yummy Skin line. The primer is a holy grail. I debated mentioning it today, but that's another one where I'm like, I always talk about that and you know I love it. Get that, don't get this. This foundation for me just did not sit well on my dry skin. It separated, it would not wear well, it didn't even blend that well. I was so disappointed because a lot of people love this and it was highly recommended to me, but it just did not work for my skin. Another one that I definitely think you can skip, the Patrick Ta highlighters. The blushes are a get, the highlighters are a skip, okay? These were not very well received this year. I mean, also I would say the foundation, but I didn't include that because I feel like I've been talking about that one a lot. But the highlighters. These are also the split pan. You've got a cream and a powder. The cream side is completely different than his other cream products in the duos. Not at all like the cream bronzer or blushes in the duos. This is like a very waxy, almost Vaseline texture. Way too emollient where like it won't stay in place and then your hair is getting stuck to it. So that's a no. And then the powder side is super duper glittery, which I don't always hate in a highlight, but overall for the price, skip these. But what am I gonna get in the sale this year? And I don't always shop the Sephora VIB sale. Again, like I said, it's not the biggest discount ever, but there are a few products that were already on my list that I've just kind of had sitting in my Sephora cart and or on my loves list that I'm thinking about grabbing this time around. So I want to hear your opinion if you like any of these and you think I should get them, or also if you don't. Save me if you hate these. Top of my list is the Easy Blur from Huda. Everyone is talking about this. Everyone says that it's great. I want to get it. I was trying to shade match myself the other day online, but I think I need to go into stores because I was getting a little bit confused. Maybe if you're on my skin tone, what shade do you wear? Do you love this foundation? I feel like everybody loves this foundation. It sounds right up my alley, though it's a bit more glowy than I tend to reach for, but maybe I'll like that. So that is at the top of my list. That's the one I'm probably the most likely to pick up during the sale. But also from Kayali, her sister's brand, This one I had like put in my cart and I took it out and then I'm like, no, Kelly, you have too many perfumes. Okay, Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar, which I had to look at my notes. I always want to say those words in the wrong order. Vanilla Sugar Rock Candy, Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar. I love that perfume. Anytime I smell it on someone else, anytime I've gone into Sephora and sniffed it, I want it. I love a gourmand. It's definitely a very, very sweet gourmand scent, so with that description, it would not be for everyone, but it is for me. And I've been holding off. I'm like, it's now the time. I would just grab a mini. I love a mini. Maybe I'll get both. Maybe I'll get the Huda foundation and that. And then obviously some powders because you know I love powder. Okay, so first of all, the LYS powder, a lot of you have been recommending to me. They have a loose powder and there is a pink shade that I'm debating. I feel like I've been testing a lot of powders lately. Let me know if you like that one. As you know, I wasn't a huge fan of the Makeup by Mario powder. My holy grail is the Huda Beauty, but I also love the Jones Road powder. I like something that's a little bit more powdery like that. I want it to be heavy duty. I don't care if it looks powdery. I just want to be perfected. So this I might try, but I'm also curious about the Tower28 powder. I'm envisioning it being similar to this one from Kosas, but obviously this is baked and that's a pressed powder, but they have a lot of the fun different tones that I like. You know, I like a different shade for a powder, so that's on my list as well. Do I need both? No. Do I need any powder at all? Probably also no. But let me know if you're shopping the Sephora VIB sale this year. Like I said, full details will be linked down below, but I really hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye.